Hello everybody, this is Apple Treats, episode 6 of the second season.
Six.
Just
Almost the
6,
end
yeah.
of the year. So, and only 6 episodes. Shame on us.
Yeah, that's shame on us, definitely. What I'm trying to say, we will definitely have one episode more before Christmas, before the new year. We definitely will do that. But now let's just recap what's happening because, well, there were no new Macs released. There were new actual any fall event from Apple. There was a couple of videos on iPad Pro and iPad, and there were even no video for Apple TV 4K, and that's actually it. And so we're a bit struggling without proper special event from Apple, and therefore I think we just can review what's happening there, and we will plan for the Christmas event, Christmas episode, and probably we'll have something interesting there. So yeah, bear with us. Let's do some news recap for the last month, I believe. Yeah. It takes us too much time to record an episode. Yeah, that's shame on Apple, actually.
1 month is a good. One month is a good cadence. Why not?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'll try it.
Hopefully, Apple will come up with something interesting more. But we have a couple of things Apple did during this month, and rather usual and unusual things. But let's start with not with Apple. Well, I mean, kind of with Apple, because it's here in Bay Area, in the Silicon Valley, there are a lot of stuff happening. Probably everybody.
A lot of free stuff happening.
Yeah. You all know about some very rich guy who purchases one popular social network and tries to disrupt it as much as possible, and that's actually happening. And well, it's not just Twitter. Yeah, it's Facebook, Amazon, and a couple of other companies doing layoffs right now. And interesting fact is that overall in US, unemployment is now on historically low levels. I believe it's 3.5%, which is really low for the US.
Accepted.
Yeah, so IT decided to we can safely lay off a lot of people, and that will be okay. And actually, the inflation is seems to be under control. It's not we are not yet sure about that, but it seems that the government doing their things, and so it's not that economy is terribly bad right now, but companies are preparing for the recession and therefore cutting off on some projects. And I believe Facebook even dropped their hardware. I don't know, they planned some tablet and some watch, which were discontinued before even being released. Amazon also cuts a lot of people, but it's for the Amazon, I believe it's in the percentage, it's not that big. And for Facebook, but Twitter, yeah, they let go a lot of people, half of Twitter, yeah. And I don't know what will happen with the Twitter. And
Okay, come on. How many people do you need to write a small application with a small website on mails with short messages? It's not like a big
exactly,
message.
that's it. So and interestingly, this all happening, probably Twitter will survive. Probably some damage could be leveraged, but I see a lot more people going to Mastodon. I already have an account there, just in case. Well, but we'll see. It's with all things happening in Twitter, it's some companies losing a lot of their capitalization, like Lilly Eli, the pharmacy company, and there were also things happening with Lockheed Martin, and that's just because of their new verification stuff. Well,
their new already discarded verifications.
Yeah, and just I believe just yesterday they announced Twitter 2.0 with hardcore developments and everything, and I don't think Twitter right now is a like proper place to work. I don't know. I mean, maybe, but it's looks like it will be challenging days for the team. I mean, a lot of people already left, and some of them left on their own, not being like let go. And even those who were just trying to make Twitter better, like one of their Android developers, were fired publicly through the Twitter. Well, I mean, that's terrible. That's just bad. And like, yeah, getting back to Apple. Apple, as far as I know, so far they did not announce any layoffs, but they constantly say that they will follow deliberate approach to hiring, which probably means they stopped hiring at all, or maybe they will be hiring only those who are really interested, like just specific individuals which they really need.
They can hire someone who will finally fix settings app on macOS.
They already have somebody who did that. We'll see.
They can fire them. Start layoff right now.
I think we can start discussing exactly that. So probably most of our listeners and viewers already have the macOS Ventura, or at least soon will have. So the settings, they redid everything, like taking, I don't know, iPadOS settings as the basis for that. And I wouldn't tell like it bad and everything, but for me, it's just
bad.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's too compact. I mean, like they did a lot of things to squish elements together, and that's just terrible. I mean, you kind of get lost there. Initial settings screen, it was split into like icons which are separated from each other, and it was easier to read. And now you see long list of something, and you need to try to get to your. Well, I mean, it's just not usable right now. Probably all settings are there, probably, but you will spend a lot of time getting to them.
Do you remember these beautiful, awesome icons in settings, system preferences application back 10 years ago or more? And even now, right now, I'm still on Big Sur, or what we had before Ventura.
Something.
Monterey.
Monterey.
So, and even here, they're not very ugly. They're pretty nice. Yeah. And they just threw it all away. So, I don't know.
And everything is
20 years
small.
Of legacy, beautiful legacy. It's why we love it. I don't know.
I actually hope they will rethink settings for macOS. I mean, yes, it will definitely use SwiftUI in the future, but probably they can think of way of structuring the content better. Like, I don't know, making the sidebar more like using larger fonts and icons. At least that probably will be a good start. But we'll see.
It is hard to write macOS applications with SwiftUI. Interesting idea.
The big problem here is that I believe, with all the glory of the iPhone and everything, the macOS development was like little less concerned about everything. So the people were not doing Mac apps, and I just hope that the SwiftUI will translate into better UI on the Mac. I mean, it's easy to do, hopefully easier to do, rather than try to teach people use AppKit right now. Because I believe, like, if you try to get somebody into Mac and like I said, here is the AppKit, which is look similar to UIKit, but not yet, and you will have a lot of things which are not documented, and we have a lot of things which probably have documentation, but that documentation doesn't say much, like for you. And
I'm not sure that people who wrote this documentation are still alive. So
yeah, or at least at Apple. Yeah. So, for example, you can have like NS table view, which was like one of the things in AppKit, and you can UI table view, and they're totally different. I mean, the approach kind of similar, but the whole process of structuring the views in the table on the Mac is something.
Yeah, because it's more about sheets. It's not about it's tables with cells. It's not like a list view.
Yeah.
And Apple did a big problem when they call this UI table view instead of, I don't know, yeah, list view.
Something,
It's a
yeah.
list view.
It was a list view, definitely, but we'll see.
Yeah, and one more thing, like the bad thing about AppKit, it's very, very mature framework. And the bad thing about it, it's I can compare it with Ruby. There are multiple ways of doing similar things, but they're totally different ways of doing this. So, and this is like bad. So multiple approach to achieve one thing, it's not good for such a concise and beautiful and restricted ecosystem as Apple's one.
I would agree, yeah. So it's maybe if they had the same documentation as they have for the SwiftUI right now, but for the AppKit, it will change a lot. But nobody will do that because probably not like you will need to find somebody who understands how AppKit works, and that's kind of hard right now, even at Apple, probably. And they spend much more time on like polishing SwiftUI. So in that case, again, I hope SwiftUI like implementation on the Mac will improve, and that will like shift things a little bit. So that's the only hope for Mac development to be like as pretty as it was previously.
Make it great again. I got it. Yeah. By the way, have you tried SwiftUI companion app by SwiftUI Lab guys?
Oh no, not yet. Yeah, share something on that. Yeah,
I can try to share my screen actually to show how it works. Share screen.
Yeah, that will be.
I'm not sure that this will work, but I will try.
That will be probably the first time we're doing this on the podcast.
No, we did this with Martin when he shared.
Oh yeah, definitely. We already did that. Nice.
SwiftUI companion. Okay, this won't work.
So for those who are listening to us, you probably might miss something or not. It depends on how it will go right now, as usual with this podcast.
No way.
Okay, next time.
I don't want to do this. But
yes.
The good thing about this, so SwiftUI Lab website is about how to do interesting stuff with SwiftUI and how different stuff works underneath. And also, as far as I remember, there's just one guy who is developing this website and application. And the good thing that he has, after each WWDC, he documents all questions related to SwiftUI, and not only like on these sessions with developers. So just question, answer. But yeah, talking about the app, this is an interactive application with documentation for all protocols, shapes, whatever else in SwiftUI, and it's interactive, so you can change everything there. Try this, and this is wonderful.
We will add link to the app in the show notes, so yeah, bear with us.
One really small note here. It costs $50, but yeah, it's totally worth its money. So
okay, yeah. So and by the way, the link we share probably will not have any affiliate programs. We don't have any yet, so like it will be just like for you to explore. Okay, let's go through some of the news. I have like I literally have some news here on my like show preparation document, but we will skip a lot of them, I think. Let's start with something which I was I wanted to talk about. So we already told, like I believe last time, that there was new Apple TV, like which has 128 gigabytes of storage, which is like the new storage level for the Apple TV, and it's kind of hard to increase storage for these devices, as it now we see. So when tvOS 16.1 was released, users of this device were not able to use the full storage. So as soon as your storage got to the level of 64 gigabytes, the App Store on Apple TV said like, nope, you do not have enough space to install new applications. So the this bug was fixed and the release was yesterday, but it's kind of interesting that they have hard-coded value for the storage, like not checking for the free space, but rather for the used space. Well, that's kind of interesting.
This is our free storage. This is my free storage. No, this is our free storage.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, but again, it's fixed, so like. Let's not blame Apple too long for this, but it's interesting how the bug was introduced. That's we don't know that. There is no public story about how this all came to life. Maybe some developer in a couple of years will share
about this. Yeah,
but it's interesting. Okay, and one more thing I would like to share is the Apple approach to the security. There are two interesting news. One is like kind of old, and you already know that Apple relaunched the Apple Security website. So they did a lot of updates there, and now they have the blog, which is for those who are hardcore into security, like really hardcore into that. So they have the first blog post about the memory safety and their like kernel approaches on how to properly allocate and free and all, and with a lot of details. I mean, like low-level details. So if you're into like low-level programming, C and all that stuff, take a look at that post. That gives a lot of insights. It's not an easy read, I would say. So it's not something you will read before going to bed just to have some good sleep later on. It's complicated, but again, the more mature you are as a developer, the more interesting it for you probably will be. Or like if you're interested in security and safe development practices, so hopefully they will publish more posts there. And one thing which, I don't know, like this blog, it's a blog, and we live in the internet right now. Internet has a standard for the blogs, which called RSS.
I thought WordPress.
Which provides you a way of reading these blog posts not on just website but in your RSS reader. Like
this is not secure. It's there.
They have. By the way, Apple has RSS on other blogs, their blogs, but for some reason, the security blog did not deserve that yet. Hopefully, they will fix that.
Do you remember how many different languages do they use in Xcode toolchain?
Yeah.
Ruby, Java, I believe a lot of Objective-C, C, and whatever else. They know how to mix things.
Yeah. So again, like Apple, if you hear us, I don't know how would you, but still, please add RSS. That's something it's much easier to know that you have a new blog post there, at least. So
if you have some free time, you can print some banner and go to their office.
Yeah, it's also an option, but I believe they don't look outside. So yeah, but their office, it's like surrounded with the trees, so you don't see the outside world when you're in your comfortable office in Apple Park. So probably security will see and maybe even report you to authorities. But
awesome. At least someone will know about it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go to another topic on the security, and that's kind of interesting. But again, it's I'm not yet sure how actually interesting it is. So, Apple recently, yesterday, just released a rapid security response update to their iOS 16.2 beta, which is a kind of new update channel. It's not something like it updates differently. So it's an additional way of getting the updates, and probably these updates are monitored on like, I don't know, daily or even like hourly check, or even like they're pushed to the device, like availability of this update. It's displayed in your software update in the settings almost the same way as the regular updates, but it's intended to be quick security fixes for some zero-day exploits and something like that. It's available in the beta, and they probably like pushed this update in order to test the mechanism for these updates. But again, apart from the saying this is a rapid security response, it just looks like a regular update. It's probably will be a little bit smaller than regular updates, probably will install quicker, hopefully, and probably you will discover these updates much faster. So it will not go through the regular like CDN approach when like it's spread to the users within a couple of weeks, but rather it will be pushed directly and quickly. That's hopefully the intent behind this new security channel.
Push notifications, just whole blob. Take it.
Yeah, but you still need to update yourself. So it's at least it's not forced update, which I would probably have some disagreements with.
Yeah, they definitely need to think about how to make this possible to install such kind of updates without rebooting your device.
Yeah,
because people don't like this, really. And
especially like now, I mean, I barely reboot anything. I mean, it's they have uptime like just between the updates, and that's the only way you do the. We even have like our company has some monitoring tools which tells you like you probably did not restart your device for some time. Like who cares? But
because modern MacBooks, they are like iPads, so they always alive. They wait for you. So why should you bother with this stuff? Enterprise, it's very slow.
And by the way, I see we have some viewers right now. Like, if you have any news which you want to discuss, just put them to the chat. As always, we always encourage to do that. So, just in case. Speaking of these beta versions, there are a couple of things were released in last beta, which was, I believe, beta 3 by the time the episode airs. And we kind of expect the release to be in December, probably, like it is. So they made some tweaks to the always-on display on iPhone 14, 14 Pro specifically. So they added an ability to turn off the wallpaper when the display is in off state, but like still always on, and hide the notifications. So basically they made the iPhone in this always on mode to be more like Android. Well, honestly, like Android phones, when they had this always on, they never showed any desktop or something. So that was they only showed the time and probably some like something else, like I don't know, the notification count or some minimum amount of information. But Apple initially were able to dim the wallpaper but still show it. So I also read one post which said like the problem with that is not that it consumes a lot of power or anything, but it's weird. When you see that your wallpaper on the screen is visible, you might think that the device is not in off state, but rather in on state. And I believe my camera just went away. Let me check that. That happens.
Oh, what is the camera?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to achieve is using the continuity camera. And it seems that it needs some more attention. So we see that sometimes it might get stuck during the stream. Okay. Doing things live has some implications with that. Let's move on. So
this is fun.
Definitely. Okay. What was I saying? So when you have an always on display and you see like the wallpaper and everything, you might think that the device went on right now and for some reason and doesn't go off, and that's weird. And you can like consider like, well, something definitely not right. I need to check, or it might be an issue with the software or anything, or it just hang during some I don't know. Kernel panic or whatever.
So for 2 years, no one cares about this on watches. So why they should think about this on phones? Come on.
And I have another answer to that. Like, if you worry about that, just put it screen down. And by the way, in this case, the always on display will also turn off, so it will even save you some power. So I believe that will be a better way of doing that. So we'll see. That's regarding the beta versions.
Okay. Do you have any apps with live activities implemented on your phone now?
Not yet, but I mean, I do have app, but I don't use it. I mean, I believe Uber should already have something, or Hope or Lyft, but I don't use them. I mean, if they did not implement this by now, I don't know what are they doing. I mean, they probably. Did they say that Uber also laid off some people? Probably they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say that, but I believe they did. But I mean, maybe they did, those guys who are implementing live activities, and that's why we don't see that. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not using RedShare right now, but somebody in our viewers or listeners will definitely say something about it. But I know you have some app which uses live activities. What's your experience with that?
Yeah, so accidentally yesterday we found with my wife that our like local food delivery application has live activity now with like estimated time of delivery. And I started thinking, why Apple haven't pushed these as a use case for these live activities instead of, oh, you can see like game score. Who cares? Come on. If I care, I watch it. If I don't care, I will watch later. It's okay for me. So, and I started thinking what we can implement more with live activities. So, and we also need to remember that this functionality, it's very constrained by usage of like, the same as it works for widgets, like new widgets on lock screen and widgets on like complications on watchOS. So you should provide a system with like some timeline of like SwiftUI views.
Yeah.
And system will just work on this and change its according to the schedule. And
yeah, but you can use push notifications for that as well. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. But push notifications are not so reliable as far as we remember, especially for like cases when we're talking about like silent pushes. Okay, yeah, and I don't have any good ideas right now. But this is very powerful thing, and I believe developers should not underestimate it. So I don't know if you have any application that has some, delayed action. I don't know, installing some device or I don't know, whatever else. So try to think how you can display these as a live activity because it looks awesome.
By the way, if you are as a developer exploring live activities, there is another way, another reason for you to take a look on that. All those guys who are able to buy iPhone Pro or iPhone Pro Max, and we will talk about this in a minute. They have this thing which is called Dynamic Island. And the live activities API is actually the way how you display this banner on the top, which is magically appears from this dynamic island. And the more I look into that, I mean, it probably wasn't that hard for Apple to do something for those who are like how the static peninsula, right? It was probably not so hard to make something for them as well, but you need to have a reason to buy the new phone. So yes, I understand that. That's all about the money. Yes.
It wasn't so hard for them to make like action button for Apple Watch Series 8, but probably they haven't done this.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. As regards to the action button, I actually hope that the next generation of regular non-ultra will have it as well. I mean, it's probably easier to do, but we'll see. And speaking of these, like why I'm saying like for those who are lucky to have them, so there is an unusual thing from Apple. I mean, again, we kind of understand why that happens, but like Apple made a press release regarding the, let me just say like supply. I probably need to read that properly, because that might be like update on supply of iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. So they don't say anything, but they say an update. So in this update, they say basically like you will be lucky to get that. There are a lot of issues on the factories which like assemble the phones, and that's related to that thing which America thinks already ended, the COVID pandemic. It still cause a lot of restrictions in China, and therefore those who will order iPhone Pro or Pro Max here in US probably will not be able to get that by Christmas. So it's still possible to buy phone in store if you come early, and they have like availability. Depending on the store, you sometimes can buy something, but by the end of the day, usually all stocks are off. So like it's really kind of hard to buy the phone, and that's probably will affect the financial quarter for Apple, but it also affects us as those who probably want to buy that, and we'll see. And actually, the Pro model, it seems to be very popular for existing and for the new users as well. So it's something which a lot of people want to buy, and having constraints with that. Yeah, in that island, everything. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. What about us? Can we order it? It's interesting. What like estimated date for Germany where I can buy something?
I don't know. I mean, I believe in Europe it might be a little bit easier, and
they usually deliver from the same storage in China. So
yeah, but who knows? I mean, it might be they have like more limits, and there will be less people want to buy. Who knows? I mean, it depends. What else? We have a couple more things to talk about. So it's another week when, yeah, that's well. So we have a couple more things happening here. So first, Apple hold another two series of events. Let's put it that way. So they had Meet with App Store experts event, which was focused like on your App Store interactions, which is kind of good. I mean, you can ask App Store team questions in regards to how to properly put your app to there, how to promote it and everything, and how to deal with those App Store ads, which are now causing a lot of troubles to some people.
How to put your gambling app into other pages.
Yeah, I believe those questions were not answered by the experts on that event, but it's still, I mean, I participated in the previous launch of this event. It was last year, and they provided a lot of interesting answers in terms of how to use their search optimizations, use different product pages. You can customize the page for specific markets and everything. So it's an interesting thing which you can discuss, and sometimes they might provide you with some more details in terms of like what to do with your app. I mean, you can ask if that's possible with current guidelines and everything. So it's and you also have one-on-one sessions there as well. And they also had another series of Ask Apple, which is like just Q&A, no sessions, just questions and answers in Slack, or one-on-one sessions with an experts, which they call office hours. This happening this week. And that's second time they do that this year. So the previous one was something like a month ago. I believe we also had in our podcast just after the, So we kind of matched the Apple here in this way. So, and that's again really interesting place to be, because when you have an experts, they sometimes provide the answers which you can't get in documentation. They probably will not help you with the AppKit, but they might help you with something in regards to the SwiftUI or Swift or anything else. There were a lot of topics, and there were a lot of channels in Slack for to ask questions, and it might be that some people will share some answers from these sessions as the document. That happened previously last year, so there were a couple of Slack channels archived into the document. Maybe this will happen this year as well. So we'll see. But again, if you, yeah.
Have you seen these beautiful pins on developer.apple.com related to this Ask Apple?
Yeah.
I want all of them. Apple, please release them.
They might, but
19.99.
Yeah.
I would buy this.
I think Apple in sometime into the future might release like all pins which they had on WWDCs, this, and like in the beautiful box with the, like, I don't know, some story behind those, and like they released the book designed by Apple in California. I hope I did not mess up the title, but it was an interesting book on their designs, and it was just the pictures of their hardware. So that was an interesting book as well.
Oh, so they will have a book with pictures of their pins.
Yeah, that's actually probably more chances into getting that. Okay, let me check the notes. What's there? Yeah, I have one thing which is just not related to the developers at all. I mean, at least for third-party developers. Another state joins the family of those who can use their driver's license in the wallet. It's now the Colorado, and there are 3 states now: Arizona, Maryland, and Colorado. They can have their state ID or driver's license in their Apple Wallet app. And interestingly, there is a list of states which are evaluating the technology and planning to add support soon, and California is not in that list. That's kind of weird, understanding that Apple is just here.
I thought that this might be related to who is the governor of this state, but as far as I remember, Democrats now in charge in California. So, come on.
That's, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what will happen next. But also, I believe in Colorado, they said that this digital version of your driver's license is not enough. So you will need to have your physical driver's license somewhere nearby still. So it's you can add that, but that doesn't mean much. So I don't know. It's a way. It's a step in the proper direction. I mean, it's probably better to have all the documents in your phone rather than carrying it with you and risk forgetting it somewhere. And I don't know if you are going through the airport and you need to. Yeah.
Why not? So. Yeah. Now we have until quantum computers become a truth, we're still in safe with the current state of cybersecurity. So
I would agree
using these, because
it simplifies.
Here in Baltics, we use our phones, our SIM cards, and separate app to sign documents. And that works. So why not believe in presenting yourself to authorities by just showing this ID? They even can scan it with some to prove the token that you're really this person. So that's beautiful.
And another thing, I mean, at least here in California, and you can have a lot of documents in electronic form, like basically photo of that document. And in many places, that would be enough. I mean, I need to pass my behind the wheel test and DMV here to get driver's license. And you need an insurance in order, you need your car and insurance in order to have that test. So the proof of insurance, it was enough for me to show that I have it on my phone, rather simply here the screen of the app of my insurance company saying that I have the insurance, and that was enough. And that was the government branch like DMV, and so I mean
I even don't have a paper with my insurance. I own the electronic version.
Yeah, so I was able. I might be able to print and show but it was enough to show that you have, and that's it. Probably in many cases, at least where you don't need too strict verification. You can have some electronic proofs, and we'll see. And
as a user of macOS Ventura, what do you think about Stage Manager?
Mixed feelings. So let's talk about the Stage Manager. And I also have the Stage Manager here on iPad Pro, which is
I just
not M1
for our episode.
Yeah,
it's complicated.
It's complicated. Let's start with the macOS. Here you need to you need to remember that you need to put two windows together. Like for example, you have your Xcode and simulator both on one stage, and sometimes you need to pull one application from the side bar to the screen. But in many cases it's actually okay, because for example you can have your stage with your development stuff, you can have your stage with your keynote and something else which you're preparing for something separate, and you have a lot of your apps somewhere nearby in the full screen mode. So the only thing here is when you launch a new app, it does not add to the current stage, but rather creates a new stage, and you have to move it to somewhere. You need to open all the apps and put them into the proper stage before you can have the good use of that. So it's the problem.
Apple has to teach us how to use this properly.
Yeah, or maybe they can adjust and I don't know, do better with that. Next thing is the iPad.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Why Settings app works in a full screen? Why? It's an Apple native app. What's going on?
So your app can deny support for the Stage Manager, but let me check. Yeah, it can work. I mean, at least I see it can work.
In my case, it works in full screen.
Yeah, it starts in full screen, but you can switch. Yeah, I just checked. At least on this pre-M1 Mac iPad Pro, it works. The problem here is that again, you need to add something to the stage, and one thing which bugs me a lot, that you lose that swipe from the left edge of the screen to go back in the navigation stack. So this gesture no longer works when you are in the Stage Manager mode. So that's a bad thing, especially if you use Safari, when you were using swipes from the edge of the screen to go back, and some other apps. So it's a drawback, significant drawback. But apart from that, again, it seems that Stage Manager works okay, and it also works good when you have an application which needs to be working. I don't know, video app which does not support picture-in-picture. That happens, and you want to listen something from that, but you want to switch to another app.
By the way, does YouTube work in this mode properly?
Yeah, I didn't check that actually. I didn't.
Yeah,
I had some.
For me, it works in picture-in-picture because I am a YouTube Premium user.
As a subscriber, yeah.
Interesting, but
I will check. Yeah,
check how it works.
Yeah, at least audio continues to play, and something else works okay. So it's actually a good way of working around. But also, I would say that the battery lasts much less when you use a lot of apps. So, and that's understandable. The classic applications now, when they go into the ground, they are suspended, they no longer work and everything, and now they keep working, and the device gets a lot of energy for that. But another thing here, so it's still the screen which consumes the most of energy. So it's from my tests, yes, you lose your battery a little bit earlier, but within a reasonable amount of time. I mean, it almost still full day of work on this iPad Pro 11-inch, or the smaller one. So 10 something, inches. And again, as I said, I'm not yet convinced that the stage manager is something to use always. I'm still evaluating that, and I'm not sure it's the proper way. But in some cases it works and works okay, and it's kind of nice to use it. In some cases you see that like with this swipe gesture not working, you have some small things which annoy you, and then it starts like you need to think. And on the stage manager on iPad, you have at least for my iPad, it has like 4 apps in one stage, and if you add another one, one of the apps gets away from that stage, and like this, sometimes you don't see which apps you have. You need to rearrange them in your stage. But again, it seems that it's a good idea. The implementation may be not that good, and I would disagree with those who say that it's just terrible. I mean, it's not terrible. It's questionable, at least on that.
Just something new. So I remember how people hated spaces when they first were announced, and how applications, so even like full screen applications, started switching, like changing order. That was awful. But now we use it for, I believe, more than 6 years, and it still works. And we don't switch to Linux.
Yeah. I'm just checked with the settings, so it works in the stage manager, but it works weirdly. It just compresses everything rather than adjust the user interface. So it's a terrible experience. Yes.
For me, it was just a full screen by default, and then I found this nice small icon, which looks like a glitch in the UI.
yeah. But it's still, again, it doesn't switch from 2-pane mode into single-pane mode like normal apps should do. So probably the settings app on the iPad.
It's SwiftUI. Oh.
I would say that the developers were not aware of the stage manager by the time they were developing.
I heard a lot about this, like how it works at Apple. So everyone develops something, then before WWDC, let's arrange it better.
Yeah, and that doesn't work. So I think if we talk about the news, it's almost all we wanted to say. There is another thing which worth mentioning, but it's not yet something very significant. So PayPal adds support for the tap to pay on the iPhone, and that means that if you're a merchant with their PayPal commercial accounts, you can accept payments using just your iPhone, and you will be able to accept all contactless payments, like with the contactless cards or the Apple Pay, or I believe even the Google Pay as well.
However,
not sure.
Be careful with using PayPal as your main place to store money. Don't. Use some normal bank. Use PayPal services as the something which you accept money and then transfer to your proper place. Yeah, that's reasonable advice. And that's probably it. US now enters the stage when you are in the moment when let's talk about after the holidays, and that means next year. So it starts next week and it will continue from that. So we will have additional episode in at least one. Next week. Yeah, and starting with that, everything getting postponed till end of after the Christmas, then and after the New Year, which is not celebrated but still a holiday somewhat. So it's everything else is now postponed till January. We will have at least one episode. Okay, at least one episode.
At least one. Maybe we will have something else. I mean, we still have something we want to try, but we will announce it when it's ready. If it's ready. Hopefully when it's ready. Okay. But at least one there will be, and that will be something like with some holiday spirit in the air and everything. We might try to get some guests here. I don't know if we will be able to. At least maybe some former hosts of the podcast or somebody else. We'll see. But let's try to do that. And until that, I think that is it for this week. Thank you for watching us online or in recording, listening us on your favorite podcast platform. And yes, if you're here by this moment, it definitely won't make you a problem to make a review and add some ratings to our podcast anywhere, whenever you are here.
Honest review with the 5 stars.
Yeah. So thanks guys, and I don't know, see you next time, hopefully soon, but at least in 1 month. This year. Let's put it that way. See you this year.
See you.
Bye.